Sports.
The crowd comes alive. The Volunteers are ready. It's football time in Tennessee.
Dobbs drops back, fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee.
Tennessee wins!
Caught by Tennessee. Jawan Jennings. What a turn of events.
Give him 6.
To the checkerboards. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Rock Solid Sports, the only show with a home field advantage for UT Athletics. Here's tonight's host.
Welcome into Rock Solid Sports. It's Monday night. I'm Chloe. I'm also here with Riley. Well, I'm not here with Riley. Riley's at our summertime sponsor, Fieldhouse Social at 2525 University Commons Way, right off Cumberland Avenue by Publix down in the University Commons area. Riley, let's see if we got you on. And how is Fieldhouse Social on this gorgeous Monday evening?
A lot of people in here today. Not used to what I'm. It's not what I'm used to seeing on a Monday night. Usually a down day for the sport. It's not a whole lot going on. Got the Stanley Cup Finals tonight, so I think more and more people are going to kind of float in for that. So they can tune in and check it out on the giant screen that you can see behind me on the stream.
Yeah, they got that big old TV in there. One of my best features or things at Fieldhouse Social, I guess. I'm sure they got probably baseball or something. Basketball, I don't know, something on right now. I'm sure they had baseball on all weekend because the Vols are going to Omaha. It's official after yesterday's game. The Vols beat Evansville to win the series 2-1, which means that they are going to Omaha here this weekend. The rest of the teams in the College World Series, besides the University of Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida State, Virginia, Florida, North Carolina, Texas A&M, and we are still waiting. I think that game just started on the winner of Georgia versus NC State to see who will be in the College World Series, the official 8 teams. We do know, however, Tennessee will be playing Florida State, who beat UConn in their super regional. They will be playing them in Omaha is that on Friday? Do we know the dates yet?
I don't know if they've announced the exact date.
They won't until this last game here, which makes sense. They don't even know if they're going yet, Georgia or NC State, but that game I think started just at 7. So we'll see here in a couple of hours. We'll know by Wednesday. And yeah, Tennessee, we do know the first game will be Florida State. Florida State, I think, ranked 8 nationally.
Mm-hmm.
All these teams in this will be 1 seeds too, I believe, as well, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of good teams to see. So Tennessee's number 1 nationally. So you never know. With Evansville, after the game 2 against Evansville, we really never know. And that is something that I kind of am more confident about after seeing what they did yesterday on Sunday. Riley, were you at any of those games this weekend?
Wasn't at them, but I, of course, was following along as best I can, whether it was on the app or through Griffin Hadley on our Rock Solid Sports Twitter at WTK Sports. And, of course, Griffin was giving all the updates throughout the game. So I was following along closely, and, what a series that was. Just fireworks in that series all the way through.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Vols, like I said, get the big one on Friday. Fall short on Saturday. However, I was at work on Saturday. I'm on my break and I check it, and it happens to be like the last. It happens to be the part of the game where I thought maybe we could win this into, and maybe the last, the Vols, last inning there. Was it the top? Where I don't know. Remember if they played the top or the bottom. It was the last half inning of the game, and I really thought that after getting, I don't remember how many runs it was, but almost reaching Evansville. I can't remember bad one numbers. I think it was Evansville had 10 and the Vols got up to 8
Yep.
in the last half there, and bases were loaded, and there was one out early and then there was 2 to go, and I genuinely thought like, oh my gosh, but it didn't happen, but it was okay because it happened on Sunday, and Vols had a moment there on Saturday. Riley, what do you think went wrong on Saturday, and how did the Vols fix it on Sunday?
Yeah, I said in the days leading up to this series that it was going to come down to whether or not Drew Beam could go extended innings playing some really good baseball. And it just came down to it. He wasn't able to get it done. I was saying, they need 5, 6 innings with maybe 3 runs out of Drew Beam, and they have a shot at this thing to close it out in 2. And it's not what happened. Drew Beam falls just short of 5 innings, goes 4 2/3, and gives up 5 earned runs, walks the guy, 5 strikeouts. Just not great from Drew Beam, and not what you're used to seeing, and not his usual consistent inning, just eating up those innings and taking care of business. Kind of fell apart there in the 4th inning. Had a great start to the game, 3 shutout innings, and he was on fire up until that 4th inning, where he gave up the 3 runs, and of course gave 2 more up in the 5th before he handed it over to Kirby Cannell, who only went 9 pitches, only faced 1 batter, who ended up scoring another run. So bad outing out of Drew Beam, bad outing out of Kirby Cannell. Took Nate Snead to come in, eat some more runs in that 6th inning. And ultimately it came down to Andrew Behnke and J.J. Garcia closing that out and holding them scoreless for the 7th and the 8th inning. But the Vol offense was never able to catch up. After that, explosive first couple of innings that the Vol offense had, of course, scoring 3 runs in the 1st inning and then another in the 2nd, giving themselves a 4-0 lead through the top of the 4th, never was able to really come back. Got 1 more in the 5th, and then, like you were saying, that late rally in the top of the 9th, scored 3 runs there, but just ultimately wasn't enough. There was too much of a gap there to make that comeback, although they did have a shot at it. Wasn't able to do it. Just gave themselves too much work to do too late in the game. And that's a recipe for disaster every single time.
Yeah, exactly. We talked this whole time about how the Vols really need the last couple of innings, but maybe a little bit more. They need to get, probably should get going a little bit earlier than the last time that they're up to bat in the top of the 9th, and which ended the game obviously because Vols were the visiting team for that one. But I think I did watch the end of the game on Sunday. I was very pleased, obviously, and they put in. Not all the pitchers. That they went through a few there. Kirby pitched again for 1. I think he struck him out, did he not? And then they took him back out. I don't remember.
Faced 1 batter and got a strikeout.
Yeah, and so then they put some others in. So that was fun. It was cool to see Kirby's one of those pitchers that you have literally seen, or that I have seen my whole time here at Tennessee, basically since Tennessee baseball got big, probably my 2nd year here. And I don't know, even though he wasn't was never the number 1, or at least maybe top 3 pitchers on our team, he was someone that, I don't know, you gotta love him. It's kind of like in the same way that I like Joe Milton. Like, it's like, no, that's not the same way. It's not the same way. It's different. But Kirby,
I know what you're saying.
Just a recognizable face, someone who, usually does the first pitch, and you see him talking to the little kids and stuff like that gets to throw the first pitch. I don't know. He's a figure in Tennessee baseball for sure, no matter how good or bad he did in specific games. So that was cool to see. And yeah, Evansville, I will say this for Evansville. Their coach looked just so torn at the end of the game, because they went into this knowing that it was a long stretch, and then Saturday they were like, maybe we can actually do this, and then they gave us a run for our money for sure. But I think that at the end of the day, you're going to be facing a lot more difficult teams in the College World Series, like Florida State, and I don't know. Florida State, I know, shut out UConn if I'm not mistaken.
I
No,
don't think
not
it was a shutout, but
not
yeah, they had
super
the
Bowl,
4 to
but they had
24.
4. They had 4. I don't remember. I don't know what the second game was there.
I think
Uh,
it was 10 to 8 in extra innings.
okay, nice. But Florida State not shut out UConn, but definitely put them, came to play. So I mean, Riley, are you nervous about this first match versus not UConn, excuse me, Florida State this weekend?
Before I dive into that, I do want to touch a little bit on just how much of a feel-good story the pitching was on Sunday. You had Xander Sechrist, who has pitched in Lindsey Nelson Stadium a million times. He's been the midweek guy for years. And then, of course, he comes out and pitches 6 innings, 6 1/3, only giving up 1 run, and it wasn't even an earned run throughout that. 6 strikeouts, just a phenomenal performance, going over 100 pitches for
Yeah.
Xander Sechrist. So that's one that just makes you feel good. That's another guy that, it's impossible not to love him. If you ever see him in the press conferences and things like that, he's cutting up and he's always having a good time, but he's also super thoughtful with his answers. He's a guy that all the media really like around Tennessee baseball. And then, of course, you had, like you mentioned, Kirby Cannell having that, facing one batter, ending his time in Lindsey Nelson in a positive way, unlike that game that he had on Saturday. And then Marcus Phillips coming in and shutting it out in 4 pitches, cleaning the game up. That was super cool to see as well. Another guy that's had an up and down season. Cool to see him get his moment there as well. So just love the way Tony Vitello handled the pitching on Sunday. And, of course, you had so much firepower throughout that lineup on that day. Christian Moore, 2 of 3 with 2 walks as well. Blake Burke, 4 of 5. So just a great performance all the way up and down that lineup. Really cool to see those top guys really show out in that one as well. But in terms of this matchup that the Vols have coming up against Florida State, it is a little bit scary when you see what they did to UConn. That 24-4 win, it's almost if that 4 is, if UConn scores 1 less run in that, that's a football score right there, 24-3. Something that you'd see in a UConn football game, not what you'd expect from a baseball game. So just a crazy amount of offense coming from the Florida State lineup, and Tennessee's going to struggle with that, I think, a little bit. We saw this lineup get taken advantage of a little bit when it comes to an offense being able to really capitalize on some minor mistakes by the pitching staff. So if they continue to make those minor mistakes and they have guys that have pitches that are just kind of hanging over the plate, Florida State's going to make you pay. That, and even more so than Evansville. We talked about that with Evansville, how they have guys in their lineup that'll make you pay. Same thing for Florida State, except like triple, just that much more power. And you saw it with what they did to Evansville, and then of course turned around and won their next game 10-8 in extra innings. So it shows that even if the offense is not putting up 24 runs, they're going to be able to battle it out and get it out in some extra innings, and that's scary for a team like the Vols who rely on their offense. You don't want to get in a shootout because that puts you at a disadvantage. So you gotta hope that your pitching comes through. You gotta hope Drew Beam finally bounces back. It's been shaky for him for a while since that SEC tournament. Had a so-so performance in that, and since then it's been bad performance. Can Drew Beam bounce back? Can he get back to what we saw throughout the entirety of the season? That's a big question. Can the bullpen be more consistent? Can Kirby Cannell go more than one batter face? Can we get more out of Dylan Lloyd? Can we get longer outings out of Marcus Phillips? I think you've seen it before, but it's about doing it consistently. And doing it consistently is the most important thing when you start hitting College World Series play. With it right around the corner and with their first matchup, looming against Florida State, who just demolished their super regional opponent, you have to be concerned for the Vols a little bit. You can rely on that offense as much as you want. They're scoring 11 runs, 8 runs, 12 runs on Sunday? Yeah, 12 runs. So they're scoring a lot of runs. But if your pitching is giving up 24, it doesn't matter anyway. That Florida State lineup is dangerous, and You're gonna have to get some more out of that bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a good matchup for Tennessee, not in that Tennessee will definitely win and it will be easy. I think this is like a good match, like genuinely a good match between these two teams because we've seen Tennessee play a lot of good SEC teams and we know what they can do there. And obviously, I feel like the SEC has the most teams in the College World Series, so is the strongest. Well, no wait. The SEC does have more teams if Georgia gets in because I'm not sure about the ACC because they also got Virginia in there. Anyways,
Yeah, if I talked to Jack about this the other day. I think if Georgia makes it over NC State, it'll be 5-3. But if NC State makes it over Georgia, it'll be 4-4.
Okay, so it's pretty even, but I'm just excited for Tennessee to face off against this ACC team. I think that, especially since it's Florida State, I don't know. That's just a team Tennessee doesn't get to play a lot. Obviously, Tennessee overall, all sports, historically, we know beat Florida State in 98, obviously. But Florida State also has had historic, in softball. That's been heartbreaking seeing them go out in the College World Series when they made it last year. So, speaking of which, I think Oklahoma won the College World Series for softball against Texas on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But we don't care as much because the Lady Vols on it. No, I'm just kidding. Tennessee, Oklahoma won, but it's just like no surprise. It's Oklahoma. This happens every year. Wish there was something different, but I mean, they're the best. They just are. But on the other hand, on back to baseball, Florida State, I'm really interested in this. I think that Tennessee, they will definitely give Tennessee a good match, and I think it will definitely be close. I think this could go to 3 games, and obviously, I'm pulling for the Vols, but I genuinely, if I had to pick a team, even though Tennessee is supposed to be better, I don't know. I think this might be difficult, but I think it'll be exciting. And if anything, they made it to the College World Series, and it would have been really disappointing if they didn't. So I'm excited that they're going to get to see these teams here. I hope they Florida State. So in the College World Series, I have not watched it in a second. So I'm talking about series, but that's not how it works, right? It's like a regional.
I think it does flip the series. I might be dumb, but I was just kind of assuming it flipped the series.
It's been, what was that, 2 years ago? So I wasn't really into it last year. Tennessee lost in the Super Regionals last year, correct?
Yes, Tennessee lost. They lost to Notre Dame.
So I need to look at that because I was thinking about that and then I was saying I don't know if it's like a regional where it's like a tournament. I don't know. Not a super regional because that was just the series, but we'll get back to you on that. But anyways, I think that Florida State, I think this will be exciting, but I do want Tennessee to get past Florida State because I want to see them take on these other ACC and obviously SEC teams that they could take on. I don't know. I'm excited for it. Bring it on. Florida State finished strong. Tennessee finished strong on Sunday. And I think that, I don't know if I had to think about who had the harder matchup versus, I would definitely say UConn off the top of my head would be more difficult, but I don't know. Evansville, and I think that was more of a Tennessee weakness, but I still got to give credit to Evansville. So we'll have to see. What do you think out of so far? Obviously, we don't know the result of they're playing right now, Georgia and NC State. Who do you think is, and it can be okay if it's Florida State, out of all these teams, who would be the one that you would not want Tennessee to face in the College World Series?
By the way, I figured it out. It's the 8 winners of the Super Regionals go to the Men's College World Series in Omaha, and then they're split into 2 double elimination brackets with 4 teams each. And then the winners of the 2 brackets meet in the finals, and that one is a series.
Got it. So it is kind of just like the regional, they have the double elimination with multiple teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close to the regional or the SEC tournament.
There's no way they're all doing 3. I mean, I guess they could, but it would take a while for them to each play at most 3 games, at least 2. But I don't know. But anyway, so that will be working like a tournament, double elimination, exciting. Oh yeah. Who do you think, Riley, is what team do you not want to see Tennessee go up against? What team do you think besides the Vols is the most intimidating here in this lineup?
Yeah, I think it's almost got to be Kentucky. That number two right there with Tennessee all season. Technically split the regular season championship with them. Had an underwhelming performance in Hoover, but you can only put so much stock in that. I think it was pretty obvious to anybody that was watching that there were certain teams like Kentucky and Tennessee that weren't taking, at the very least, the early games as seriously as some of the other teams were. So I'm still pretty concerned about the Kentucky baseball team. They've been fantastic all season, and have been right there with the Vols in terms of ranking and records. So I am worried about facing the Wildcats. They've been great all season, and of course met earlier in the season. I want to say it was a 2-1 series win for the Vols. Weren't able to get all three in Lexington, but at the end of the day, that's the way it goes, and they're a very good team, and they're going to be a very tough team to take on.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with Kentucky. I think, interestingly enough, Florida plays Texas A&M first. I honestly think Florida's going down. Florida's been a solid team all year. That's why they got here. But I think that, and I'm not just saying this because I absolutely hate Florida, but I think that in this matchup versus they'll play Texas A&M first. I think that Florida's getting eliminated, which is, I mean, it could go either way. What do you think about Texas A&M and Florida?
That's gonna be an interesting game to watch because A&M, another team that's been pretty fantastic all season. You wonder, what is how are they going to stack up against Florida, who has been on a bit of a hot streak towards the tail end of the season and came in as a 3 seed regionally and came out of that region and then goes on to beat the 1 seed Clemson to make it to the College World Series. So impressive run so far through this postseason for Florida. It's going to be about if Texas A&M can continue playing the type of ball that we saw them play, that they played against us, and or whether they falter a little bit and Florida's able to take advantage of it. I would be a little more scared of Texas A&M just because of their track record. But you certainly cannot overlook Florida because they've made it this far for a reason. They've taken down some really tough teams, Oklahoma State, Clemson, just to get here. So this matchup against Texas A&M, that's gonna be a really fun ball game.
Yeah, I think so as well. Also, kind of interestingly enough, a TikTok moment that I had. I saw a guy on TikTok rank Texas A&M as the most annoying fan base in Power 5 college football, which I thought was interesting because there are a lot of other up there. But one of the criteria that eliminated a lot of of the teams that I would pick as the most annoying was they had to have not won like any sort of national title in the last like 10 years or something. So a lot of those teams got eliminated. Anyways, just a little tidbit there for you. I don't know if I certainly agree with it, but it was annoying when my first dog was named Aggie and everyone asked us if we were Texas A&M fans. I was like, I don't even know what that is. Like, what is an Aggie? I don't. This is a dog's name. This is my dog. But anyways, Texas A&M. I think that they're better than Florida. We'll have to see though. Could be interesting. Like you said, Florida's kind of hit a stride here in the last couple of games in their regular season and obviously in the postseason as well. They got to Omaha. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm genuinely excited to see all the other teams play. Obviously, we're familiar with all these teams because they're all ACC or SEC, or they all will be. So, I'm super excited for this College World Series, probably more than I have been in previous years. As far as if this is the year if Tennessee will go all the way, I'm not sure. I don't speak on those things anymore because I'm almost never correct, and I want to say yes, but I don't know. I think that this will be very difficult. I can see it happening, but I don't know. Again, we picked Kentucky as our most dangerous team, but I genuinely don't know. Like weird things happen at the end of in baseball just in general. So I genuinely don't know who I'm picking to go all the way. If I had to at the moment, I'll have to see them play this weekend. Yeah. Any more thoughts, Riley?
If I'm picking the team to go all the way, I am picking Tennessee. I mean, they've just been so successful throughout the season. It's tough not to. That being said, I guess you could always point to the fact that despite how successful they've been in the past couple of seasons, they haven't won it yet. But that being said, this is a different team and a team that was historically good offensively. Maybe took a step back with the pitching and whatnot from last season, but you still got to respect what the Tennessee team has done. So, all in all, they are my favorite to win it all right now. I don't see I don't see either of these ACC teams that they have to face, whether it be Florida State or the winner of Virginia and North Carolina in the next round. I don't see them giving the Vols enough trouble to really justify me picking either of them over the Vols. And then it'll be a matter of overcoming whatever school ends up in that final alongside them on the other side of the bracket, whether that is an SEC school like Kentucky, Florida, or A&M, or if NC State's able to beat Georgia and snake their way into the final.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see by Wednesday about who the last team will be in the College World Series. Go SEC, but also I really don't care. I mean, the NC State, like, we'll see, but I'm proud of either. So, anyways, at the end of the day, I think that the ACC can't win in this because it'll either be a tie or it will be. Let me see if we have a score update. Top of the second, no scores yet, no runs yet. I will try to update that as the show goes on. We'll take a quick break. Might be back for some pro basketball, something else. It's a mystery. I don't know. Probably NBA. We had game 2 also last night. Yeah. So stay tuned. You're listening to Rock Solid Sports on Volunteer Radio 90.3 The Rock, UT's College of Rock.
The Rock receives support from Fieldhouse Social, a fun and laid-back restaurant that offers American craft food, cocktails, and 40 beers on tap, with a 25-foot live TV and a full lounge area for sports fans. Open 6 days a week right on campus at University Commons, where football, food, and fun come together. FieldhouseSocial.com.
90.3 The Rock thanks the UT Athletic Department for their support. The 2024 football Vols will play home games inside Neyland Stadium against SEC rivals Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, and others. AllVols.com for info with a link at WTKRadio.com. UT student ticket info is at bigorangetics.utk.edu. 90.3 The Rock says, go Vols.
90.3 The Rock proudly brings Knoxville the best in new and classic, independent, and underground music on the Indie Owl. Monday nights from 8 to 10, hosted by former award-winning alumni from the WUTK Music Department and sponsored by Magnolia Records, 1515 North Central Avenue in Knoxville, and the Tomato Head Restaurant on Market Square and in the Gallery Shopping Center. Spinning cutting-edge music from around the world that pushes musical boundaries like noise pop, math rock, slowcore, shoegaze, garage rock, chamber pop, chillwave, and more. The Indie Owl brings you hard-to-find music from the artists that make it to the listeners who love it. The Indie Owl also provides independent artist news and chances to win Tomato Head and Magnolia Records gift cards. Tune in to Knoxville's true independent radio. The Indie Owl, Monday nights at 8, only on 90.3 The Rock, always bringing Knoxville new music first.
90.3 The Rock, Knoxville's original music pioneers.
The Rock thanks Peak IV Hydration at 906 Sevier Avenue for their support. Peak IV Hydration is South Knoxville's first hydration station, helping clients to hydrate and recover for athletic performance, hangovers, cold and flu, and for overall wellness. Open Thursday through Monday from 10 to 6 p.m. More information and booking available by phone at 865-281-5263 or at peakivhydration.com.
Volunteer Radio receives support from the Tennessee Smokies Baseball, the AA Southern League affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, whose 2024 regular season schedule features 6-game homestands Tuesday through Sundays, now into September at Smoky Stadium in Kodak. WTK's Rock Solid Sports will have weekly Smokies updates. TheSmokiesBaseball.com, and a link is at WTKRadio.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Womack. You're listening to 90.3 The Rock, bringing Knoxville new music first.
Welcome back to Rock Solid Sports on Monday night. I'm your host, Chloe, here with talking to my co-host, Riley, who's at Fieldhouse Social, our sponsor for tonight, 2525 University Commons Way. Riley, how is Fieldhouse approximately 24 minutes later than I asked you the first time?
Filling up quickly. A lot more people in here. They've got, I want to say it's some type of soccer tournament that they've got on the TVs right now.
Nice. I like watching soccer. I don't know like who any of the teams are, but
It's like not one of the big leagues. It looks like it's I don't know, like a friendly or something between one of the US, like, or one of the, there's the women's soccer league, National Women's Soccer League, that's what it's called, NWSL.
yeah.
It's one of the teams from that against the Team USA, against the Team USA squad.
Nice. Yeah, they have every kind of sport there at Fieldhouse Social. If there is not a sport that is Tennessee related on the happening right at that moment, they will have something else that is happening live, a sport that you never knew that you needed to watch at Fieldhouse Social. They have everything. So maybe you could find your new favorite sport. Maybe you could find your new favorite food, drinks, etc. Obviously 21 and older to drink alcohol there, but I know they have a lot of cool deals and specials and events for food and alcohol there I think many days of the week. So that's Fieldhouse Social. We thank them so much for being our summertime show sponsor. I was lucky enough to catch the end of game 2 of the NBA Finals, Mavericks versus the Celtics, 105-98. And when I first turned it on and there was maybe 4 minutes left in the entire game, and the Mavericks there had a moment, but unfortunately fell short at the end. Just couldn't get it done. So Celtics lead this 2-2. Game 3 is on Wednesday. Riley, we talked a little bit about this after the first Celtics win on Friday. General comments, you already admitted you were wrong about the Celtics, but I don't know. The Mavericks, I feel like, definitely had a better game this one.
Yeah, if this was, if the Mavs had any shot at winning this series, they had to win against the Celtics in game 2. And it's not just because, there's an idea about momentum or whatever else. The Celtics shot 25% from 3. That's about as bad as they're ever going to shoot from 3. If you lose that game where they're shooting 25% and you let Drew Holiday drop 26 points, 11 rebounds, drop a double-double on you, you just don't have much chance of winning the game. And it comes from a lot of different reasons. And of course, as always, we talk about it on the Fast Break podcast. Recorded a new episode today with special guest, Rock Solid Sports alum Bryson Wright. So be looking out for that. Of course, that was a really fun one. No Matt. Wish he could have been there. Would have been that much more entertaining. But good squad there to talk about game 2 and the final so far and what our expectations are for the rest of the series, and of course the draft coming up as well. So be sure to tune into that episode when Justin gets it posted either later today or tomorrow. But it just comes down to the fact that the Mavericks don't have enough good defenders. Luka Doncic, not a great defender. Kyrie, not a great defender. Derrick Jones Jr., P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, not super great defenders. I mean, they're okay defenders. They're not bad defenders, but not great defenders. And you need great defenders when you're taking on this Celtics squad. Celtics, on the other end, do have several great defenders. We were talking, it's like, if you were to rank the starting lineup, the top 5 of each of these teams, who the best defender is, and you were to rank each person in both starting 5, it would be all 5 Celtics and then the 5 Mavericks below them. And it's because Jason Tatum, great defender, good size, good length. Jaylen Brown, pretty good defender, great size, great length. Al Horford moves super well for being, 38 or whatever he is, been in the league for forever. He moves super well, and he's a pretty good defender. Drew Holiday, probably the best point guard defender in the league. And then Derek White, another great defender. And then if you wanted to go into the 6th man, I would even pick Kristaps Porzingis as a defender over any of the Mavericks starting five. So it's just a bad matchup defensively for the Mavericks. They don't have anybody that can guard the amount of size, the amount of length, the amount of strength that the Celtics have all throughout their lineup. It's a tough matchup for the Mavericks, and if Kyrie isn't scoring, 30 points right there with Luka, they're going to lose every game. And so far, Kyrie has been pretty dreadful in these two games so far. You got to hope that he gets to Dallas and kicks it into gear, otherwise this is going to be an ugly sweep.
Yeah, this series, I mean, I don't want to say exciting because the end of that game was exciting. You're rooting for the Mavs unless you're, of course, like a Celtics fan, just to make it exciting, because we talked about this whole kind of postseason for NBA playoffs, how this has been exciting, but then we talked about how the Pacers, their story was exciting, and then Pacers, get swept. And then we also had the Timberwolves at one point, and that didn't work out. So now it's just kind of what everyone is like, yeah, Boston's got it at this rate. But it would be a little bit exciting. But I don't know. I think Boston's got it too. I think you think it will be a sweep for them?
Yeah, right now it's kind of how it feels. I mean, chances are Mavericks are able to take one at home. They should get at least one of the two in Dallas. So in all likelihood, it's probably a Celtics in 5 situation. But I mean, I just cannot see a path where the Mavericks come back from it. I mean, you have to have a totally different Kyrie Irving playing basketball, and you got to have Luka continuing to play at the level that he had all postseason. But now Luka's hurt, and he had a giant ice pack wrapped around his ribs before the last game. So it's like you need a lot of things to go your way if you're the Mavericks. And the Celtics, they just shot probably the worst they've shot in weeks, and they still won by 7 points. So I don't know. I don't see a path for the Mavericks to come back in this series at this point.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Just that to your point of, they are doing at them at their worst, they still win, and then I don't know. I guess they're just that much above it. I think it will be a sweep, maybe. I don't know. My mind has slowly changed. You guys, since I don't know a lot about NBA, you guys, whatever you say, I'm just like, yeah, that's a good point. And then if someone else is on the show that watches NBA, they're like, I'm sorry, what? So like when it's just me and Riley on the show, I'm just like, yeah, the whole time. You got like Bryson, like we got Bryson in here on Friday, and he was like, what? To like half of your points, and I was like, okay, don't talk to me about it. Just you guys talk about it over there. But no, I'll still be watching. I'll still be, rooting for it to be a little bit more exciting, but we'll have to see. I think last night might have been as exciting as it would get. I'm not sure. Anything else on NBA, Riley?
Yeah, they were kind of battling for a while. That game 2 was about as entertaining as I think that this will get. I mean, yeah, at the end there, Celtics just kind of pulled away, but at the very least for the first quarter, it was super exciting, and there was a lot going on. So they kept it interesting through, I would even say, the first 2 quarters. But after halftime, it just kind of, the momentum shifted, and you could kind of feel that it was the Celtics game from there on out. But other than that, I mean, we've got the draft around the corner, and of course, that's going to be good. And we talked at length about what we think is going to go on, and how there are a lot of scouts that kind of feel like this feels like if any other draft started at like pick number 8. That's the kind of talent that you have in this upcoming draft class. It's a draft of role players, so it's great for teams that are contending and only need a couple more pieces to really push themselves into the title race. But other than that, if you're a team that's looking for the next big superstar, you're probably not going to find it in this class. I mean, you've got fantastic talent in this class, like a Dalton Connect, and that's my favorite for hopefully the hometown Grizzlies to take. That's my hope at pick number 9. But it's tough to say where this draft is going to go and in what order so many of these players are going to go in. I mean, right now, Alexander Sarr is like the only consensus number one overall, even though that's not even set in stone. And then from there on, you have, sometimes you'll have Rob Dillingham at 2, and then sometimes you'll have Rob Dillingham all the way down at pick number 10. So just a lot of parity in this draft class, a lot of craziness that I expect to go down on draft night. And yeah, just fingers crossed for, me and Bryson that we get to see Dalton Connect or maybe, a Donovan Clingan or somebody like that end up in a Grizzlies uniform.
Do you agree that this is one of the weakest draft classes in a long time?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, if you're looking at this list of players, it doesn't feel like there is one of those, top tier guys. There's just not one. You're used to a draft having, Anthony Edwards or a LaMelo Ball or a John Morant, a Zion Williamson. You're used to one of those guys that you can look at and you're like, yeah, this guy's going to be a star. There really isn't one. Alexander Sarr is about your best bet, but even that is more like, oh, this guy has, real Tobias Harris energy, like a guy that can be a really solid piece for a team, but not a featured player, not a guy that you want as your first or second option. That's kind of the nature of this draft class. So it's a little strange for those teams at the top that really do need a another big scoring option. It's tough for those teams, but that's the nature of the way drafts work. And sometimes you're just gonna have better ones, sometimes you're gonna have worse ones. You just got to get the best of what you can get. And that best for me is looking like number 3 from the orange and white.
Yeah, talk a little bit about Dalton Connect. You said you have him going to Memphis. I've seen him pretty much going everywhere, like in projections, from Sacramento to Charlotte to like Memphis, like you said. Talk a little bit about that. I don't know if you made a mock draft or if you posted it or what, but
I've not made a mock draft. Maybe I should. Maybe I should get on that. That could be fun. Maybe I'll dive into that. Like a little post-finals project.
Yeah.
This is Dalton Connect is going to be an interesting pick in this draft because I feel like a lot of scouts consider him to be one of the most pro-ready players. I mean, he's one of those that if you look at, I forget, there was a stat that I saw on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. I want to say it was 2 days ago, where it was like Dalton Connect has like one of the best true shooting percentages and like a certain amount of that was contested. And it was the best in the country of making those contested shots. And that kind of game is the best to transfer over to the NBA because it's going to be a more physical game. Defenders are going to be in your face. You have to be able to get that shot up and nail it. And Dalton Connect's great at that. He's great at finding his own shot, whether it's, drilling a 3 wherever he is on the court, spot up shooting, pull up jumpers, or if it's driving to the rim. I mean, Dalton Connect can do that all. And it's going to be a big boost for him come draft night. And I really hope that he can make it all the way to 9 where the Grizzlies are, because if he doesn't, if he's not picked by the Grizzlies, I think it's because he's picked earlier than that. I just really like Dalton Connect's prospects going into this draft. I think he is going to be a bona fide player on a good squad. Like he is a guy that will contribute in his rookie year. Not very many NBA rookies can do that unless your name is, LeBron James or Victor Wembanyama. You're able to contribute, of course, but as a guy that's not going to be a first option, it's usually pretty difficult. But I do think Dalton Connect has the capability to do it, and for that reason, hope he ends up in Memphis as the new backup shooting guard, a guy that can come in and knock down some shots when he needs to. Maybe a replacement for Luke Kennard in a potential trade for a center for the Grizzlies. That's my hope, and I really do think that Dalton Knecht will be a contributor very early on into his NBA career.
Yeah, I think so too, and I hope so, because he obviously, he's made the right choice to go to the draft. Really, like, of course, one of his only choices, right? He's been in college for a second, but I think, of course, one of his best choices was coming to the University of Tennessee, where he was seen a lot more. I mean, not that. Where did he come from? Colorado.
It was Northern Colorado.
Northern Colorado, yeah. I knew it wasn't Colorado State, and I knew it wasn't one or the other. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited for him. I'm happy to see where he goes, and it should be definitely a fun time. The draft is on. Is that on the 14th, or is that something else? I think it's coming up here in the sometime like that.
That sounds about right. I don't know. I can double check real quick.
June 26th through June 27th. June 26th and 27th is a Wednesday and a Thursday.
Nice. Yep.
So that's coming up pretty much like here in a couple of weeks. Should be exciting. Sure, we'll be covering that and seeing where DK goes. Maybe someone else from Purdue that's name is Zach Edey, and other things as well. But yeah, NBA draft coming up here soon. Exciting things. Right as soon as NBA season ends, we'll have more to talk about. It's a lot of fun. We got to take our last break. We'll be right back. Maybe some other pro sports, maybe some WNBA, other things as well. Stay tuned. You're listening to Rock Solid Sports on Volunteer Radio 90.3 The Rock. We've been rocking ears for 42 years.
The Rock receives support from Fieldhouse Social. Sports games paired with cold beers in reach in University Commons. Fieldhouse Social offers a diverse menu of tavern foods such as pulled pork nachos, the Fieldhouse Cobb salad, and the Applewood smoked chicken wings. Kick back and relax in the lounge. FieldhouseSocial.com.
Volunteer Radio receives support from the Tennessee Smokies Baseball, the AA Southern League affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, whose 2024 regular season schedule features 6-game homestands Tuesday through Sundays, now into September at Smoky Stadium in Kodak. WTK's Rock Solid Sports will have weekly Smokies updates. TheSmokiesBaseball.com, and a link is at WTKRadio.com.
Volunteer Radio receives support from the Knoxville Ice Bears professional hockey team. The Ice Bears 2024 season schedule is here with games versus rivals Huntsville, Roanoke, and more at the Civic Coliseum downtown. KnoxvilleIceBears.com for info about Ice Bears season and single game tickets, memberships, and more. A link is at WUTKRadio.com. Tune in to WUTK's Rock Solid Sports for Ice Bears news on their upcoming new season of hockey.
The Rock thanks Peak IV Hydration at 906 Sabir Avenue for their support. Peak IV Hydration is South Knoxville's first hydration station, helping clients to hydrate and recover for athletic performance, hangovers, cold and flu, and for overall wellness. Open Thursday through Monday from 10 to 6 p.m. More information and booking available by phone at 865-281-5263 or at peakivhydration.com.
What's up? This is Briston Maroney. You're listening to Volunteer Radio, where music matters most.
Volunteer Radio receives support from Tennessee Smokies Baseball, the AA Southern League affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, whose 2024 regular season schedule features games against Chattanooga, Birmingham, Rocket City, and others at Smoky Stadium and Kodak. The next homestand is versus Mississippi, Tuesday, June 18th through Sunday, June 23rd. SmokiesBaseball.com. WUTK's Rock Solid Sports will keep you up to date with Smokies Baseball Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. TheSmokiesBaseball.com, and a link is at WUTKRadio.com.
90.3 The Rock thanks the UT Athletic Department for their support. The 2024 football Vols will play home games inside Neyland Stadium against SEC rivals Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, and others. AllVols.com for info with a link at WUTKRadio.com. UT student ticket info is at bigorangetix.utk.edu. 90.3 The Rock says, go Vols.
90.3 The Rock proudly brings Knoxville the best in new and classic, independent, and underground music on the Indie Owl. Monday nights from 8 to 10, hosted by former award-winning alumni from the WUTK Music Department and sponsored by Magnolia Records, 1515 North Central Avenue in Knoxville, and the Tomato Head Restaurant on Market Square and in the Gallery Shopping Center, spinning cutting-edge music from around the world that pushes musical boundaries like noise pop, math rock, slowcore, shoegaze, garage rock, chamber pop, chill wave, and more. The Indie Owl brings you hard-to-find music from the artists that make it to the listeners who love it. The Indie Owl also provides independent artist news and chances to win Tomato Head and Magnolia Records gift cards. Tune in to Knoxville's true independent radio. The Indie Owl, Monday nights at 8, only on 90.3 The Rock, always bringing Knoxville new music first.
Hey everybody, this is Lee Ronaldo from Sonic Youth. You're listening to 90.3 The Rock, Knoxville's home for classic alternatives. So turn it up real loud, why don't ya?
Welcome back to Rock Solid Sports. On Monday night, we were sponsored by Fieldhouse Social, 2525 University Commons Way. Man, that football spot they played a few seconds ago for Tennessee football got me like really excited for no reason, because I think that's the first time I've heard it. Like, I think this is the first week we are probably going to be airing it. So it's weird because like I have grown up going to Tennessee football games my whole life, and these past few years I've been in marching band here at UT, and it's so weird like getting to this part of the summer and seeing they have like the drums, the drum line coming first, and the color guard and the majorettes and all that, and that usually tells me like, oh, it's almost time for band camp. But now I'm like, there's no more band camp, and like, while band camp is very hard, it's super fun, and I'm gonna miss that so much. So yeah, football season just around the corner. I'm so excited for that. Anyways, Riley's at Fieldhouse Social, 2525 University Commons Way. Let's check in for you, Riley. How's Fieldhouse now?
Great. So now, I mean, people are excited for the upcoming Stanley Cup. I want to say it's game 2 of that as well, along with the finals. So, yeah, people are filling up. People are excited about that.
Yeah, Stanley Cup coming up as well. Super exciting stuff. Another sport we have to talk about in this summer is hockey. Anyways, WNBA, I'm going to start out not with Caitlin Clark. I want to show some love to some lady VFLs. Jordan Horston specifically in the Seattle Storm. They're doing pretty good, better than some teams, 7-3 right now. And Jordan Horston, we talked about Ray Burrell. We talked about Rakia Jackson. Wanted to talk about Jordan Horston for a second. She's still there. She's still scoring. She's off the bench, but she had 9 games, I think, in I don't know if that was yesterday or not. In Friday's game in yesterday's game, I was correct. Versus the Lynx. They lost, but hey, Jordan Horston's still out there doing what she's doing. One of my favorite players that I got to cover here at Tennessee, because I don't know, I just think that she's very what's the word? She's good at many things, and she's super fun to watch. And I don't know, that's just the best way I can explain it. Just a good player to watch, good player to interview, very well spoken, and yeah, just I had a great time when she was here. I thought even no matter if they won or lost, I would be excited if Jordan Horston was coming out for the press conference afterwards. So yeah, Seattle doing pretty good. Connecticut, I think, is at the top right now. Connecticut, I don't think we have any lady VFLs over in Connecticut, but they are, pretty much, I don't think any lady VFLs. Excuse me if I'm missing someone. But yeah, that is pretty much the team right now. Caitlin Clark, however, we will talk about her for a second, didn't make the Olympic roster. Don't know if that's because I know the thing with the Olympics was they were going to have her, because she couldn't try out, correct, because of the WNBA season. So I think that they were using her preseason, or like something. I read something that they were using her performance in the WNBA as her tryout, which is kind of weird. And she did not make it. But again, she said like, this is the most competitive league in the country. So it's not a letdown, but like I tried, So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, or Seattle, or Jordan Horston?
All right. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about the Lady Vols. Yeah, shout out Jordan Horston. She's had a great start to her season. Kind of got pushed into a bench role with the amount of additions that the Storm made, but she is still balling out every time she touches the floor, no question about that. Also got to give it a shout out to Ray Burrell and Rakia Jackson, who combined for an 11-0 run at the end of the game versus the Aces to come out on top of that one. So shout out to those two. Ray Burrell hitting 2 massive threes, not somebody that sees the court super often for the Sparks, but glad she was able to make an impact when she did. Now, about that, what do you say?
I just said she's there. She's there.
She's there, and hey, she made an impact and really gave them a chance to win that game versus the Aces. Now, about this Team USA roster, my biggest issue with all this talk about Caitlin Clark is that she's not even the biggest snub from the Team USA list. If we're talking about anybody, it's Erica Ogunbowale. It's hard to say her name. Erica Ogunbowale, second in MVP voting right now, right up there with Nafisa Collier, and phenomenal season, and left off that roster, which blows my mind. And there's, of course, you can make an argument for several of these players, right? But if we're looking at this roster, right, Nafisa Collier, one of the top in MVP voting right now, gotta have her. Kalia Copper, pretty versatile, can play a lot of positions, helps to have her scoring ability on your squad. Chelsea Gray, probably the best true point guard in the league. Brittany Griner, probably the best true center in the league. Sabrina Ionescu, fantastic shooter, has some experience. Jewel Lloyd, fantastic guard, can play kind of a combo guard, can play the 1 or the 2. Kelsey Plum, same thing, has a lot of experience. Brianna, and is, a multiple-time champion at this point with the Aces. Brianna Stewart, coming off an MVP season. Alyssa Thomas, probably one of your only players that can slot into that 5. Same thing with Asia Wilson, but, she's the best player in the world right now. So, there's no argument about whether or not she should be on this roster. And Jackie Young, who also has plenty of positional versatility and is also coming off that Aces championship-winning squad. And that takes you to Diana Taurasi, filling out that last spot. And at the end of the day, Diana Taurasi is a USA women's basketball legend. So I don't have any issue with her being there and almost acting as a player coach for this squad. I think Diana Taurasi is a must-have. For as long as she wants to be on that Team USA team, she should be on that Team USA team. Now about Caitlin Clark, at the end of the day, she's a rookie. She's been doing things nonstop since she set foot, or since really the NCAA tournament. She finished her NCAA tournament run, turned right around, was drafted, and now has been playing games for the Fever. She has not had a break. Not to mention the media firestorm that's constantly been around her name. It is a good thing for Caitlin Clark to not be on this roster. She's an alternate, so she has the ability to join if somebody drops out, yada, yada, whatever. It is a good thing for Caitlin Clark. She needs a break from it all for a minute. It's got to be a bit of it's a relief if you're Caitlin Clark that you're not selected to this, because as much of a, firestorm is just going to cause on social media and whatnot, for Caitlin Clark, this is a much-needed break coming at a ideal time. You've been struggling as you've started, gives you a chance to sort out those turnovers, kind of settle into the WNBA lifestyle, and really just kind of hit a hard reset. So maybe you can come back from this little break, because the whole league is going to go on a break during the Olympics. Let the whole league go on a break for a bit. You kind of reset, after this break, come back with a different type of mindset and improve your play at the end of the day. And that way there is no question about whether or not you should be on this next edition of the Team USA squad. Because right now there is a question, and it comes from her turnovers, and it comes from her inexperience. In 4 years, she's going to have the experience, and hopefully those turnover issues will be cleared up. And Caitlin Clark will be a shoo-in to be on that team in 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it best. I agree. We can all agree on some snubs from this team, but with only 12 people and these specific women, it's hard to make criticism still. Like you hear Caitlin Clark, you're like, oh man, and then you look at the roster, you're like, okay. I mean, yeah. So Olympics coming up this summer, super exciting on NBC. I want to cover some of that. We got Griffin Hadley, one of our very own, going down there to Paris to cover, going down to Paris. I say that like it's like Georgia or something.
Yeah, right.
Paralympics. So I'm sure he'll have a lot of wonderful stories when he gets back. That's been our show. Thanks to Fieldhouse Social for sponsoring us. 2525 University Commons Way. Thanks to Riley for going out there. We'll see you on Wednesday. Indie Owls up next on Volunteer Radio, UT's College of Rock.